For a closer look at these Chinese trade figures, Gil Kaplan joins us. He's a partner in Washington, D.C. at the law firm of King Spalding. And you focus on international trade and trade policy issues. We don't have anything controversial necessarily to talk about in terms of trade here, but this is very significant that China has now become the biggest trading partner for over 100 countries. How significant is that?
Well, I think it is significant, and it speaks to the success China has had at building a very large export-oriented industry. China is still not the largest trading country in the world. The United States still occupies that position on a gross import and export basis, but for many countries, China is a larger trading partner than the United States.
Look, it is no secret that China exports just a plethora of goods to around the world, and they also import quite a bit to make those products as well. And there was a lot of talk over the last couple of years that as China upgrades their manufacturing ladder and they make sort of more simple products to more complex products to more technologically advanced products, and they move up that food chain. Are they doing it, and how successful have they been at doing so?
Well, they have moved up that food chain, and China probably surpassed the United States as the largest manufacturer in the world sometime over the last 12 months. And some of that is high-tech manufacturing. What they have not been successful at doing is the really high-end innovation that the United States is so successful at. You know, one example that's always discussed is the iPhone. It's true that the iPhone is assembled in China, but the innovation that really created it is probably much more the result of the United States.
We were talking a little earlier about globalization, and it's not just China, but it's countries around the world. As we've globalized quite a bit over the past decade, there's also more trade disputes, and that's just a fact of having trading partners. Do you see the number of trade disputes that we've seen recently in your law firm and yourself, are they being resolved in a more expedient manner, or are they taking more and more time to resolve some of these issues as you see them appear in the press all the time?
I think they're still taking a lot of time. We filed some of the first anti-subsidy cases against China related to paper and circular welded pipe, and those cases, which are now 5 or 6 years old, are still working their way through the WTO system. So like all litigation, it takes time, and the WTO is sometimes a slow process.
Well, and I get the second half of that question is, how can these countries better work together? Trade delegations meet all the time in different parts of the world, but it seems like, at least from our vantage point in the press, that there's never real movement in getting the two parties closer together where they actually have a line of communication to avoid the issue before it even begins.
Yeah, I think there are some fundamental differences in views, unfortunately, and those have to be worked out if there's going to be a more expeditious way to resolve the conflicts. There's some differences of views about currency and about subsidies and other issues, and unless we can reach some better understanding so that the differences are not so large, those disagreements are going to take a while to work out. But we do have methods for doing it at the WTO and through U.S. and Chinese law.
What areas of potential controversy do you see appearing in 2013?
Well, I think there'll be continued
that you can disclose, of
that
course.
I can disclose. I think there'll be continued discussions about manufacturing in general, and the fact that China is putting a lot of subsidies and assistance on some manufacturing industries, and the U.S. will probably feel the...
But, you know, this is something we talk about a lot on this show, and there's a lot of focus, obviously, on China, but there are a lot of countries around the world who do manufacturing that also partially subsidize that industry.
Right.
Why is it that we focus so much on China? Is it because they're just the biggest?
That's one very big reason. I really think that if a small country in wherever, South America, whatever, subsidizes, it's just not going to have the effect in the United States or Europe or Japan that a country the size of China has.
The only benefit to not being the biggest,
right.
I guess we could say. All right, thank you very much for your time and
you.
expertise. We'll certainly have you back again.